And good morning, Hoosier fans, and welcome to a victorious edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Northwestern. I'm your host, Chad Schwartzkopf. Last evening, the Hoosiers go into double overtime to beat Northwestern 79-76 in a game that had its ups and downs. How are you feeling this morning? I almost feel hungover. I feel hungover from that game. I didn't drink a lick of alcohol, but man, I feel, emotionally, physically drained from that game. Just crazy play at the beginning. Just guys could not get started, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the players are doing. I don't know what the coaching staff's doing. I don't know how we come out so flat, so stiff, on offense, I should say, because defense had the intensity. The intensity is there, but just lacking the offensive awareness and physicality to start. Struggled overall, and there was the middle point of the first half. There was a point where it kind of turned around, where Trey Galloway was trying to drive to the basket and got swarmed, lost the ball, regained the ball, kicked the ball around the outside, and found Al Durham for a three-pointer. And a much-needed three-pointer. Then, out of the timeout, media timeout happens, and Armaan Franklin, a play run to get Armaan Franklin open, and he nails a three. And then a couple minutes later, Armaan hits another three. And now looking back and playing Captain Hindsight, of course those two guys hit those shots then and brought Indiana back into it, when I believe before that first three it was 7-21 and looking very bleak, looking like they were going to head off for a 20-plus point lead, and we were just going to sit there and take it at that point. Sorry, the score wasn't that. It was at that point. That was about the 7-minute mark that happened. The defense ratcheted down from there, and the Hoosiers kept scoring, and that led to Indiana going into half only down by 3. Which it could have been a lot worse. But very indicative of the final outcome and what happened in overtime, to have those two guys step up at that point and hit shots that we needed to get us into the game, because those two were our stars today. Al and Armaan did fantastic. In a game where we should have been dominating underneath, we should have been getting the ball easily to Race and Trace. I don't know if those two were worn out after chasing down Luka Garza in the last game. Race I can definitely understand because he battled big time. But the Northwestern defense, when they doubled, was too much. Guys did an okay job passing out of it, but I didn't feel like we were aggressive enough with it. Lots of times when Trace would get the ball on the block, he would kind of hesitate. He would take too long trying to get into position, too long trying to go to his moves. He gave time for that double team to come over. Almost like he knew it was going to eventually come. So hold on, let me wait for this double team to come. All right, now it's here. Now I pass it out. There were 2 plays in the second half. One where Armaan drive towards the basket. They collapsed on him a little bit because Armaan's man was losing him. And I believe it was Race's man or whoever was playing alongside Trace at that point in the game. His player had to kind of sag over. Might have even actually been Trace's man. Had to sag over to compensate for Armaan that was driving. He quickly dumps it over to Trace. And Trace immediately, instead of trying to make a move, just goes right at the basket and lays it in. And then a following play a few possessions later, they get the ball to Trace underneath, and this time he catches it and immediately makes his move and scores an easy layup at that point too. Gets past his man. But it was other times where he was jockeying for position, and that's fine. I understand. You want to get into your rhythm, but once you catch it on the block, make your move right away. Get to that basket. Our bigs look tentative. There were a few times as well that they passed it out even before the double team even came. Didn't even look at the rim. Just played hot potato with it. So I don't know what's going on with those guys. Again, maybe it's tired. Maybe, who knows? Again, if Trace wants to play at that next level, needs to get that outside shot a little bit better. And I'm not saying three, I'm just saying free throw-ish. And he hits it occasionally. That needs to be more of a threat. And he needs to be able to be more physical and not shy away from these physical Big Ten guys. Because it's not going to get any better any farther he goes. G League, NBA, whatever it is. And I'm sorry, it sounds like a theme where I keep ragging on him, but he wants to be the star. He wants to be, he is the best player, should be the best player on this team. He needs to be able to take this criticism and he needs to be able to better himself. And we had a game earlier in the season where he went in there on fire in the locker room and hollered at the guys. And where'd that go? Where's that fire? Where's that aggressiveness? I want to see that come out of him a little bit more. There's another notch that he can turn on that for some reason he's not turning on. But yeah, so a horrible start. Second half looks better, but it's really the overtimes that IU looked good, looked locked in. The ball was getting where it needed to. And, I mean, you can just look at the numbers and see that. Field goal percentages going through each half in overtime. 24%, 47%, 33%. Yeah, there's some fouls in that, so that first overtime, and 50%. So it improved as we went along. Same with the three-point shooting. 30%, 33%, 33%, and 50%. Free throws, big time. And it's crazy to look at the final stats for the free throws. 27 of 38 and 71%. Good numbers. And you look at that and go, oh, pretty good. Pretty good game. Shot it well from the free throw line. That wasn't the issue. But during regulation time, that was the story you were talking about, because they were 2 for 8 in the first half, 25%, but got better in the second half, or 10 for 14, and 71%. But between those two, that's 10 missed free throws. And in a game when you go into overtime, that's the difference of the game. If you just make 4 more of those, then that is the difference in the game, easily. Barring other situations I know, obviously. But then to go and miss only 1 in overtime, go 15 for 16 in overtime. So that was the storyline for it. But obviously, also, the other one was the turnovers. There's one point in the game as well that we had 12 made baskets and 12 turnovers. That's not a good. You don't want those numbers to match. Do not want those numbers to match at all. And after that point, they only committed 1 more turnover. And then in overtime, they were perfect. No turnovers in overtime. So you feel better about the game now being able to look back on it, because your recent memory goes to the overtime and the great performance by Armaan Franklin and Al Durham. And that feels good, and it's a W, and you put it away, you categorize it away, and you move on. You get ready for the next game. And the next game comes quick, and the next game is a hard game. So they play Ohio State next. We got to be ready for that game. I get a little concerned about going into 2 overtimes, playing a game of 50 minutes and banging like they did, and having that short turnaround. So hopefully they're relaxing ice baths today, hit the free throw line, keep the muscles warm, but got to recoup a little bit today. And late ride home even too. I mean, goodness gracious, could you imagine this game had it been at its regular tipped time, 9 p.m.? That would have been a very late night. But good to get the win. We saw a little bit peaks here and there of the freshmen last night. I think it really wasn't a game for them. They gave some decent minutes, had some decent contributions. In that Christian took a couple shots but didn't make anything. Ended with 14 minutes but had a beautiful play. Two-man game. His two-man game is fantastic. Pick and rolls and playing with someone else when you can ISO him on one side with a big guy is fantastic. Him and Jordan Geronimo had a great little piece, passing it back and forth for a second, and then great screen by Jordan. Jordan's a great screener. He rolls off of it, and Lander finds the angle and gets it to him as he dives to the basket, and Jordan gets a dunk. So that was great to see. I love seeing those types of moves because that's good intelligence. That's good basketball IQ by the young guys, and that also only gets better. So exciting for the future with those types of guys. You obviously also have times where Lander's going to commit turnovers. He had 2 turnovers. One of those turnovers was just a miscue between him and Anthony Leal. Anthony slid over to get his angle a little bit better on his shot as Christian was driving to the basket, and Christian, thinking Anthony was still right where he was, passed it without looking, but Anthony couldn't get it because he had taken a step to the right. That's going to happen. I mean, that's guys moving around, finding their angles, and just they got to get used to playing with each other. And when you have high IQ guys like Christian, Anthony, and Trey, they can see the game and see each other and see the passing angles and everything like that. The more and more they play together and they get just that rhythm and that kind of mojo where they kind of know where each other's going to be, that's pretty basketball. That is fun basketball. That is pretty basketball. Yogi was someone that was very good at that, especially in his latter years with his drives. And he kind of had that with, who did he have that with? He had that with a couple guys on the team back then where he just kind of knew where they'd be. He knew that they'd be slashing to the basket and he'd be able to find them. So exciting to see those kind of little things developing within the team, knowing that, the future is bright with this team. And I'm excited about that. Excited about where it's headed. And let's talk about Jerome Hunter. So this was Jerome Hunter's first minutes after his little sit down. Hopefully he woke up from that sit down. He had some interesting moments, had some of those great shots that he's able to make. Then he had a few breakdowns on defense. There was one time that a great 3 by him, a much needed 3 in the first half, was negated the next possession as he got lost in some screen action, lost his man, and had to recover all the way across the court to his man now in the corner, and his man hits a 3, negating what he had done. So again, it's that weighted scale, that trade-off. And luckily, the good column outweighed the bad column in this game. I mean, that step back three by him. Yikes. That is scary. Exciting. Something that he can hit. But that was a crazy move. Him creating his own shot. That's why we need him, and when we need him in games like this, when the offense isn't clicking, when we're unable to get it inside, to have him in there as a guy that can create and find his own shot. Armaan Franklin is a player like that, and last night Al was a player like that. And you see what it does when you have players like that, and they turn it on and execute at the end of the game and win you games, because that's what those three guys did at the end of the game. Being able to create their own offense, being able to make shots at crunch time. That's fantastic by them. I mean, all those free throws, 16 of them in the overtime in just 10 minutes, and they were good-looking shots. A lot of those went in, didn't touch a lick of the rim, which in a 50-minute game that's a battle, that you're struggling to get offense, struggling to see that ball go through the hoop, to still have the legs and the confidence and the arm strength still to get it in there is fantastic. It was great to see those guys convert things down the line like that, down the road like that. And again, so next game following up is Ohio State. We play at Ohio State, which is tough. They're currently ranked 4 and 5 in the respective polls. It's again a Saturday noon game, so a little less than, or a little bit more than 3.5 days of preparation for it, and the guys are right back at it. So obviously that travel and all that stuff in there as well. So it's a crazy thing, and they need to get their minds right. They need to get things figured out and come out swinging, because Northwestern is one thing to be down early and struggle and come back, but we start that bad against Ohio State, and we're going to dig a hole that we are not going to be able to get out of. So let's get these guys ready. Let's get these guys rested. Excited to see that game, and let's do it, guys. So that's going to do it on this edition of Hoosier Morning After. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also hit that bell, and you'll get notifications of when I go live or when a new video is out. Please follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. There you can find out information about the show. A special thanks to Bob Thompson for creating the music you hear on the show. I will be back again the morning after the next game. Until then, go out there, have a wonderful day, and go Hoosiers.